the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, I shall say. Yes. I have never met him, unfortunately. And I mean, this book, I hear in industry, I hear this being cited all the time. All the time. All I hear is system 1, system 2, really? System 1, system 2. I hear this all the time. And then I hear, system 1 is subconscious, system 2 is conscious. And then like all these labels are just thrown onto these two things. Yeah. Now, what do you think were good things that came out of this book being published? And maybe some quite bad consequences.
Right. So, well, personally, I think more good than bad for sure. So, and the positives are simply exposing this area of research to a broader community. Which we talked about, many people aren't aware of these kind of what people like me in the field will consider really basic and obvious stuff. And much of the research cited in the book is quite old. I mean, it's stuff they've done in the 70s and 80s, and it still stands up. Yeah. But it's kind of classic findings from judgment and decision-making research. And so I think anything that can be done to bring science in a non-hypey way, which I think is what he does quite well in the book. He doesn't sensationalize and preach, I think is a good thing. It shows how experiments operate, it shows how scientists work, and it shows the kind of conclusions you can draw after a long program of research. So I think that's really positive. The system 1, system 2 thing, I feel, has been maybe over
abused.
Yeah, I think people have taken it a little bit more literally than I think it should be. I mean, in my mind, it's
because he does say explicitly in the book, just to point it out, he explicitly say in the book, these are just concepts to make it easier to understand it from a framework perspective.
Yes.
That's all he says.
But it's very easy to go down the road of thinking, okay, because it makes very nice intuitive sense. And we've had this metaphor for many, many, many years, right? I think it was Aristotle talked about the kind of the voice of reason on the back of the kind of animal of instinct.
Yeah.
And so it's many people have come up with two system models over the years. So it's a very compelling concept that you've got kind of rationality and emotion battling it out, and it kind of captures a little bit. I mean, it's Freudian almost. In a way. Exactly. But I think there's a danger of taking it too literally, is that we literally have a part of the brain that's system 1 and a completely different part of the brain is system 2. And we're somehow, fighting it out all the time.
Which is just not true.
No, it's not true. And we're becoming some of the early research, including some of mine, did talk about this again in a kind of a conceptual sense, that we may have areas of the brain that are more predisposed to kind of deliberative cognitive processing, such as areas of the frontal lobe, versus areas of the brain like the anterior insula I mentioned, which seem to be more devoted to more affective processing. But there's certainly not a one-to-one relationship. You asked about recent developments a while ago. I think a very important recent development from a more technical point of view has been this notion of brain networks, that a single brain area isn't going to tell us much, that what we really need to think about is a network of areas working together to perform a function. And I don't think there's very good evidence, or really much evidence, suggesting that there's a system 1 network and a separate system 2 network. Many areas are involved in multiple things. Yeah. So, it's a very useful metaphor, and I think it's a very nice concept. I think if people indeed are thinking in terms of how do we activate system 2 in these people, or is system 1 the dominant? I think that's maybe not very useful way of thinking about it.